Okay, everyone, let's begin today's lesson and then meditation. So thank you very much for joining. So today we're going to talk about how to be mindful on your emotions. So, and then I'm gonna describe how to be mindful on emotions and what it means and how to do that. And then we will do some exercise on meditation using the technique. So let's begin. Okay, so first of all, I want to explain about the nature of feelings. What does it mean when we feel different feelings? So as you can see, we feel different feelings like these: happy, embarrassed, scared, nervous, right? Sad and angry, all sorts of emotions. We give labels for them. But if you remove the label, underneath all the labels, it's all made of energy. And to explain energy in terms of picture, I basically display this vibrational image. So these are like, up and down vibrations. So there's a picture of a vibration or number of vibrations. And what I'm trying to show here is that feelings are similar to vibrations, or the nature of vibrations is that they constantly changes like this. So they change in their size, in strength, right? So they go up and down and then they disappear. So like that, when you feel a particular feeling, it normally has a beginning and a duration and an end. So this duration sometimes is very short, sometimes very long. So it depends on how how much you focus on the feeling. So if you feel a feeling, for example, like anger, and then if you keep trying to justify the anger, the duration becomes longer. So when you think of the nature of feeling, think of vibration, and the nature of vibration is that it constantly changes. So that's what I want you to understand in terms of feelings, and there are different labels that we give to feelings. So on the next slide, I want to give you examples of feelings and their reasons. So on the top row here, the example shows a story or reasons why we may feel these feelings. So for example, when you're feeling sad in this particular example, the reason is that I feel sad because my parent took my phone away for a week as a punishment. So that's the story, but that's the feeling in the middle. So we have a story around the feeling and then the actual feeling itself. So I want you to understand the difference there. When you feel something, we tell a story to ourselves in our mind, and the longer we tell the story, the longer we're going to feel whatever the feeling is. So in the case of angry feeling here, it says, I feel angry because my brother broke my favorite toy, for example. And then you basically think around that, and then the longer you think, the angrier you get. So and then the longer the feeling is going to last. In this example, I feel happy because my dad bought me my favorite toy, for example, something you always wanted. When you got that gift, you feel happy. So the feeling is there, and then around the feeling, we have this story. So understand that when you feel a feeling, we tell a story to ourselves. It's not intentionally, the story is not intentional, but we are basically telling a story, or we give a meaning to that feeling. So we can label this story like a story or reason or meaning, right? So whatever meaning we give it determines how long and how stronger or weaker the feeling is. So hopefully you understand the difference between the feeling and the story. in this slide. And then we go into the next slide. So in this technique, there are 3 steps. So the first step is when you feel a feeling, I want you to recognize what category the feeling falls under. These are broad categories, so wider categories. So is it a happy feeling, sad feeling, or neither, or neutral feeling? So the first step is when you're feeling something, you have to check whether it's a sad feeling or happy feeling. So sad could be angry feelings, fearful feeling, or anything to do with sadness, right? So anything from dislike to angry, anything in between is sad. Happy is anything from like to obsessed, for example. So obviously neutral is neither. So it's like without feeling, just being neutral. So sometimes you feel both, and on step 2, so basically first step is to recognize what type it is, happy, sad, or neutral. And then the second step is to focus on the feeling, not the story. So remember in my previous slide, we say that when we feel a feeling, we tell a story or the meaning to that feeling. So I don't want you to focus on the story. I want you to focus on the feeling in this technique. So forget the story, focus on the feeling is what I'm trying to say there for the second step. So in this technique, just to summarize so far, we have 3 steps. First step is to recognize if the feeling is either happy, sad, or neutral. And step 2 is focus on the feeling, not the story or the reasons for the feeling, right? So that's the second step. So we focus on the feeling. And then step 3 is when you're focusing on the feeling, so focus on the feeling and the changing nature of the feeling until it disappears. This is like as someone looking from outside at the feeling. So when I ask you to do the exercise, what I want you to do is think of a feeling from like, for example, if you think of an angry feeling is obviously sad, right? So it's a sad feeling, and then the second step is to focus on the feeling, not the story, right? And then the third step is to focus on the feeling. So the feeling have 3 stages: beginning, middle, and end. So if you feel the middle of the feeling, just focus on that. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to say here. On the third step, you're actually focusing on the feeling and the changing nature of the feeling. So when you focus on the feeling, you will see that it constantly changes because it's vibrations. So just keep focusing until it changes and it finishes, right? And then the exercise finish for that feeling. So just to summarize the 3 steps of the exercise. First step is to identify what type of feeling it is, whether it's a happy, sad, or neutral. Second step is focus on the feeling, not the story around it. Third step is you keep focusing on the feeling and know that the changing nature of the feeling. So when you keep focusing on it, you see the feelings constantly changes. It gets less and less and weak, and then stops. So when it stops, then you think of another feeling in this exercise that I'm going to show you. So I'll basically guide you through that, but those are the techniques. So I want you to just understand this third step. Third step is most important. So when you focus on the feeling, you keep focusing on it and experience the changing nature of the feeling until it disappears. It's like, as you know, you're looking at it from a third person's point of view, as someone else looking at the feeling that you're experiencing. So hopefully you understand that, but we will go into an exercise now. So the exercise is, you think of different types of happy and sad feeling from the past. So this could be from your childhood, from the very you know old memories or more recent memories, and I will guide you through this. And then let's say I ask you to think of an angry feeling, right, that you felt from your past, and let's say you can't think of an angry feeling. Then you think something else that you can think. So you don't have to experience what I'm telling you. I want you to think of any feelings that comes to your mind. But I will guide you through that. So the exercise is, think of a different type of happy and sad feeling from your past and focus on the changing nature of the feeling until it disappears. Do this one feeling at a time for the next 10 minutes. Also remember not to focus on the story or the reasons of the feeling. Instead focus on the feeling itself. So this is what I want you to do. So let's begin the exercise, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. I'm going to play the music for you, and then let's do this for 10 minutes. So let's begin. I want you to close your eyes and think of a sad feeling from your past, from your memory. And I want you to really experience that feeling now. And then once you have that in your mind, I want you to just focus on it and really focus on the feeling itself, not the story. And then feel its changing nature. It's like you're fascinated about this feeling. You're looking at it from outside and just see it's changing, and then keep focusing on it until until it dies. Look at the feeling with your mind, like you actually staring at a tiger's eyes without fear. So focus on it confidently and see the feeling slowly changing and then disappearing. Okay, so we'll move on to another feeling. This time, think of a feeling, think of a time when you got upset about something. It could be about one of your family members or even about yourself. Focus on the feeling, not the story around it. So you focus on it and just watch the feeling with your mind and see it changing and slowly disappearing. Okay, take a deep breath. Now think of a time you felt fearful about something. Think of a time when you felt fearful. Get that feeling into your mind now, and confidently know that it's a sad feeling, and then watch the feeling, watch the fear, like you're watching a tiger in his eyes. Stare at it with your mind, focus on it, and then see the changing nature of the feeling of fear. Keep focusing on it, and as it focuses, it gets less and less in strength, and it should disappear. So I'll give you a bit more time. Really focus on the fear. Confidently focus on it. Play it like a game. Just watching your feelings. It's no big deal. It's your feelings, and you're watching it like you're in control. You're not scared of this feeling. You're confident. So watch the fear disappears slowly. When it disappears, take a deep breath. Now let's go to another memory. Think of a time when you felt envious of someone, feeling of envy, for example. Maybe something your friends has that you like to, you felt upset about it, a memory like that. And know that is also a sad feeling type, and then focus on the feeling of envy, like you're staring at a tiger in his eyes. You stare at the feeling with your mind, and you see the feeling. It's like energy. You may have colors, but it's constantly changing. And then see it disappear from your mind. It's okay if you can't follow this. You can work in your own speed. If you can't think of that feeling, think of another feeling. Okay, take a deep breath if the feeling disappeared. Now think of a time when you felt angry, like really angry, either by yourself or with someone else. And really get that feeling out of your memory into the front of your mind. And know that it's a sad feeling type. And then watch the feeling of anger, like you're watching TV, you know, just keep staring at it mindfully, being aware of the feeling changes, the changing nature of the feeling. and wait for the feeling to disappear. Take your time. Really focus on the feeling. Once it disappears, take a deep breath again. Think of a time when you felt hurt by someone else. For whatever reason, you felt hurt, deeply hurt. And know that that feeling is a sad feeling. Be aware of that. And now focus on the feeling. And see the feeling changes as it changes energy. Just keep staring at it with your mind. Keep focusing on it with your mind. Be curious about the feeling and how it changes. Just imagine the feeling belong to someone else, but you're curiously watching it with your mind. And see how it changes in its strength, and see how it disappears. Once it disappears, take a deep breath. Now think of a time when you felt the need to buy a toy, for example. You crave to buy a toy that you really want, or a phone, or whatever it is. Just get that feeling into your experience now by thinking about it. And that desire, that craving, I want you to know that it's a happy feeling. And focus on that feeling also in the same way. Watch that feeling like an outsider watching it. Like the feeling doesn't belong to you. And then as you watch it, see the changing nature of the feeling. You're being fully aware of how the feeling changes and how it disappears slowly. Okay, take a deep breath and open your eyes. Let's end the workshop there. So can you all share your experiences and see if you managed to follow those instructions, or if you didn't?
Ranesh Mama,
Yeah?
what does envy mean?
Envy means when you feel upset about what someone else has, that when you don't have the same thing. if you feel upset about it because someone else has it.
Like jealous.
Jealous, yes. So when you feel jealous, so jealous is a sad feeling. So when you feel that, you focus on it, and then you see the changing nature of the feeling, and you be aware of the changing nature, and then you keep focusing on it until it disappears. Then the jealousy goes away. So the beauty is when you treat your feelings like this, you are in full control of your mind, and no feelings can overwhelm you. And the negative feelings get less and less into your experience. So you'll be a much calmer person. Did you manage to do any of the, or remember any of the feelings and focused on it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And did it get less and less?
Yeah, it happened about this morning, actually.
Okay, good.
Most of them happened this morning.
And and once they disappear, how did you feel? Did you feel some sort of happiness or relief or?
I kind of feel the same, actually.
Right.
Well,
So
like I felt a little.
Because it's already died down. I don't
yeah.
feel bring it back up.
Okay, good. So this is how you want, how I want you to deal with your feelings on a daily basis. So you have to monitor the type of feelings you get, whether it's happy, sad, or neutral.
Yeah.
And then when you get it, just focus on it. Don't let it overwhelm you. Now this could be depression. This could be anything that, if you feel like trapped, for example, if you feel like you don't have a choice, whatever the story you tell yourself about the feeling, or whatever the meaning you give to this feeling, it doesn't matter. Forget the story. Just focus on the feeling, because when you deal with the feeling, it's all the same. It's all energy. So was the instructions clear for you? Did you manage to follow it?
Yeah. It was
Yeah?
quite.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Only, how did you feel? Did you manage to follow it?
Yeah, I could. The feeling did go down.
Good.
Yeah, because normally it takes time for the feeling to go.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a strong feeling. But when I focus on it until it disappears, because
Right.
then I can get all of the things out of my mind from that feeling away. It
Very
does
good.
go down.
Yeah, the beauty is when it disappears, when the feeling disappears, the story goes with it, right? So this way, this lesson is for life. It's not just for this moment. Is how you should manage your feelings even when you grow older, and then you will be able to manage any feeling. It doesn't matter what challenges the life throws at you. Whatever painful experience you go through life, you will be able to manage any kind of feeling in this way. So this is a very important lesson for life. I want you to remember this technique, and if you use it daily, then you will feel that your life will be a very peaceful one, and you won't be suffering in life, because you're removing the negative feelings this way. And if you have any kind of addiction, either to phone or to internet or whatever it is, for games, then you just focus on that feeling. Like, say, when you want to play a game, and if you feel like you want to stop it, then you just focus on this feeling, the feeling of wanting to play the game in this way, and then that feeling disappears, and suddenly you don't want to play that game anymore. The urge, the strength of the feeling will disappear. So that's how you I mean, this is one of the very powerful technique that anyone can use. and it will help you to manage any type of feeling, whatever label you give to the feeling. You can manage it that way. So I hope you all had an experience with it. Did anyone feel they couldn't, it didn't work for them, or they couldn't follow the techniques? Shanley, how did you do? Did you manage to follow the technique?
Yeah.
Did the feeling get less and less?
Yeah, it worked.
Good. So Deepa, how did you feel? Did you manage to follow the technique?
Yeah, it was very calming, and yeah, I followed everything. It was pretty good.
Very good, very good. Can you explain the technique for me, from what you remember? So next time when you feel a feeling, what how would you deal with it?
You have to focus on the feeling, not the story, and you have to focus on it until it goes away.
Yeah. So you don't focus on the story, right? You focus on the feeling. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's another step, which is to to know if the feeling is a sad one, or a happy one, or a neutral one. And then when you know that, then you just focus on the feeling, not the story, until it disappears. Will you try to do that daily?
Yeah.
Good. And yeah, let me know how's your week been when you do this for the next, well, until our next lesson next Saturday. Does anyone have any questions on this? Are you all clear? Okay, I'll take the silence as a yes, and if that's the case, then your exercise, your homework is to do this technique throughout the week on a daily basis, and then let me know how you feel. And if that's all, then we can end the lesson today and have a wonderful week. Have live mindfully every day, and then
Mama,
yes, Dua,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Thanks, Ranesh.
All right, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all next week. Thank you.